Hi, I'm Jim Zirin. Welcome back to More Conversations. Once again, our conversation turns to the New York art world, where we see contemporary paintings fetching record prices at auction and galleries announcing openings almost every week with shows of new artists hoping to win acceptance for their work. With us is Arne Glimcher. Arne Glimcher is a man for all seasons. He is a lion of the art world, a gallerist, filmmaker, collector, and author. He is the owner of the Pace Gallery, with annual revenues in the neighborhood of over $1 billion, who has walked a long road from a small gallery on Newbury Street in Boston, which he started in 1960, to a New York destination for the most important collectors, curators, and artists of his time and ours. Representing more than 84 top-selling artists, Arne Glimcher built Pace into a global empire powerhouse, occupying gallery space on 3 continents. And we're pleased to welcome to this table to talk of his unique journey. Great to have you with us, Arne.
It's nice to be here, Jim.
Now, what has been your overriding passion as a gallerist and an art dealer?
My passion is art. My passion is living with artists. I was trained as a painter. I went to Mass College of Art, very important in my life. Went to graduate school afterwards at Boston University and focused on art history. But I love art, and I love the company of artists, whether they be actors or painters. There's a magic to being with these extraordinary people.
Now, you were born in Duluth, Minnesota.
Right.
When did you move to Massachusetts?
I moved to Boston when I was 7. And I think the second week after we moved, my mother took me down to the Boston Museum of Fine Arts and enrolled me in Saturday morning art classes. And that was the beginning.
And initially, I think you said you wanted to be a painter, perhaps, but how did you shift over and go over to the other side of the table and become a dealer?
Well, in all modesty, I was a really good painter. I think that I was one of the best painters in my class, but I wasn't good enough for me. You know, a painter has to have a divine stupidity.
Divine stupidity, what do you mean by that?
That they can overcome or compete with all of the greatest achievements in the history of art. I knew I couldn't. But I was outside of myself, and an artist can't be. I mean, that's what I say, this wonderful stupidity that you just feel you can do it, and it's a calling. You know, art chooses the artist. The artist doesn't choose art. And if the artist chooses art, it's not very good art.
And is being an art dealer a calling?
I don't know. It's been a calling for me. But it's also been a way to live. I think that my wife and I married very young. Her interest is art as well. She built the gallery with me. This didn't happen alone. And the international aspect of the gallery has been taken over by my son, Mark. So it's been a family enterprise. And he's incredibly active and talented, and he's taking the gallery to the next generation.
Well, let's start with the small gallery on Newbury Street. Who were some of the artists whom you represented there?
Well, some of the first artists that I showed were my professors in art school. That's what I opened with, a show of their works. And but very soon I knew what I wanted to show. I wanted to show Nevelson's work. I wanted to show Alber's work. So I went off to New York, and Martha Jackson was Nevelson's dealer. I got friendly with Martha, and she actually introduced me to Klaus Oldenburg, who I got close to. And I began showing these people. You know, I'd rent a truck, U-Haul it, I'd pack up a Nevelson show, drive it to Boston, do the installation with a friend, mutual friend of ours, Dick Solomon, lived in Boston, was a collector in the gallery, and he helped me do the installations. And it was a very, and Millie and I were at the desk when we weren't at school, and my mother was there when we were at school. It was a very...
Has the feeling of a ma and pa store.
I think the gallery is still a ma and pa store, but nobody else does.
Now, how many collectors would you estimate were in Boston at the time that you got started?
Oh, I had about 5.
5 collectors?
5 collectors that were interested in what I was doing. But, when I showed Warhol in Boston, I was selling his paintings for $225. And
that would have been a buy.
And Oldenburg's sculptures were $150, up to $1,500. I mean, the most expensive wall-size Warhol was $1,500. And I just forced my friends to buy. I said I'd buy them all back, which I never could have done. But
you didn't buy them in the first place, did you? Didn't you have them on consignment at the beginning?
Yes, but I mean, they put their money, they put their $150 in, but it would have been very difficult.
And there it was. Now, at one time, didn't you have the aspiration of becoming the director of the Museum of Modern Art?
I did. Before I opened the gallery, opening the gallery wasn't my idea, it was my brother Herb's idea. My dad had just died, and my wife, my mother, and my brother and I were walking down Newbury Street for solace on a Saturday, looking in galleries, and we came out of the best gallery, and there was an empty shop next door. And I said, that's a great place for a gallery, and my brother said, open a gallery.
And you called it the Pace Gallery.
Gallery.
Why the Pace Gallery? I mean, it's quite common for an art gallery to be named after the owner.
Yeah.
Why isn't it the Arne Glimcher Gallery?
I didn't want that. I wanted, I am a fairly modest person. I didn't want my name on the window. I wanted the artists to be the stars. And my dad's name was Pace. And it seemed like a very good idea. It had a nice feeling. It was a short name, and that was Saturday. And Monday, I was signing a lease for a gallery for a business I had no idea how to run.
And well, somehow or other you survived. So there comes a time when you moved to New York. How long were you in Boston?
I was in Boston for 3 years. Millie and I moved to New York with our 2 kids. We had kids very young. We started this all very young.
It's a wonderful story. What motivated you to move to New York?
There was no future in Boston for what I wanted.
Cost of living was higher in New York.
But so were the opportunities.
Yes.
And so many of the artists that I was showing in Boston were catching on and in demand in New York, and I couldn't get the works. And I knew I moved to Boston a little bit too late. Oldenburg was with gallery, and Warhol was with the Stable Gallery, and I could have had all of those people if I had gotten there 3 years earlier, but that was impossible. So I decided to build my own identity, and I had a partner, Fred Mueller, who was very crucial to the move to New York, and we moved.
Now,
we didn't know anybody except the artists.
Well, it seems like a chicken and egg thing. What is more important for a startup gallery, relationships with artists or relationships with collectors?
Oh, relationships with artists.
And how do you forge a relationship with an artist? Aren't they very temperamental and difficult to really get to know?
You know, I was an artist.
So you have the right temperament.
I never found artists temperamental. Demanding sometimes, but they have a right to be demanding. People with such astonishing talent that extend our perception of the world. I think they're the shamans. I think they're the magicians. For me, they're the most interesting people to work with.
But you can't really call up an artist at 9 o'clock the way you can call up a lawyer or a banker. You have to be somewhat tactful in the way you deal with them, don't you?
No, not necessarily. No, exactly the way you could call a banker, say, it's 9 o'clock, we've got to do this, and can I come over? And I've got someone who I could bring to the studio this afternoon and change everything. This is really important.
So where in New York did you open your
Opened
first gallery?
at 9 West 57th Street. And it was a series of townhouses. And we were there for, I think, 3 years. And then Sheldon Solo.
So this is around 1964.
We moved 63.
63.
Opened in 63. And then Sheldon Solo bought the townhouses and put up that big sloping structure. And we got paid off for like $2,000 to get out. A bonanza.
It's like selling 10 Warhols.
And one of my really wonderful patrons and supporters was I.M. Pei. And I.M. said to me, I'll help you find a new space. And he did, and he designed it. And even designed my office furniture. It's the only furniture he ever designed.
So was it tough at first for you, Arne?
It was, the first 10 years were murder. It was
murder
very
because
tough.
you didn't have the artists or the
No,
works
because
weren't selling? Or?
I didn't have the money, and I was investing everything I had in my artists and bringing, I was the first person to bring the California artists to New York. And New York hated that to begin with. But the museums understood what I was doing, and the curators, and we sold. But it's very expensive running a gallery and putting ads in magazines and in newspapers and making catalogs. And I felt from the very beginning that I had to produce catalogs, important catalogs, with texts by important writers. There are, extraordinarily important art writers in the 20th century. And I had the option of commissioning them for very little money to write the texts for these catalogs. And when you think about the history of my gallery that is so apparent to any scholar, and Castelli's, Leo's one of the great galleries of the world. He never made a catalog. There were posters and little posters, and nothing exists, and except some maybe archival photographs of the exhibitions. I've documented 58 years of the New York art scene.
Did you have an overriding aesthetic in your selection of artists?
I did. I think the most important artist to me in beginning the gallery was Robert Irwin. And he still is, high amongst my favorite artists. I think if there's an avant-garde alive in the world today, which there isn't, it's in Robert Irwin. This is an artist who changes what art is, not changes what art is, but reveals the essence of what art is.
Are you still offering his works?
Yes, and he's 90 years old. And we had a show this year, incredible show, of 8 new pieces.
That's amazing. So he continues to paint.
He doesn't paint. He makes objects or he alters spaces. Mm. But in the early years of the gallery, he was one of the first shows at 9 West 57th Street. And then when we moved to 32 East 57th Street, he showed continuously. And we're opening a new building in Chelsea, a 75,000 square foot gallery of 8 floors.
So you're not moving. This will be a simultaneous space.
No, we are moving.
You're going to move entirely?
Entirely. We'll occupy that building. We may keep one floor uptown.
Yes.
But yeah, we're moving entirely. And the opening exhibition is going to be Robert Irwin. He's been the charm, perceptual charm. So he was very important to me, and my taste as, which was derided at the beginning as being glitzy and shishi with this California fetish, finish, perfect kind of art, was later applauded. But it's an overriding, this is where my aesthetic lives.
Did you have a breakthrough artist or a breakthrough transaction?
I've had many.
But I mean when you came to New York. You said things were tough at the beginning. Was there then a
Well, I think a very big
reversal?
deal was that Nevelson came with the gallery. And she had been with Sidney Janis and had an unhappy relationship. And she was with Sidney Janis because she was the only woman that he ever showed. And he showed Rothko and Pollock and everybody else. And then he took her. But it didn't work out. And she came with the gallery. So suddenly the gallery was not an anonymous gallery. And then a few years later, one of my heroes, art historically and as a student, was Jean Dubuffet. And he came with the gallery, and that was an amazing thing.
So he was a French painter, but he was then in his 60s, wasn't he?
Yes, and he was he was the hottest artist in the world at that moment. You couldn't get a painting. And he came with me, and we had 18 years of great relationship. When I started with him, Annette Michelson, who introduced me, said, beware of Dubuffet. He has no servants. He makes slaves of his friends. But it wasn't true.
He spoke English?
He spoke a little bit of English, but we spoke in French.
Spoke in French. Now, you also accomplished a major transaction with, I think it was the first $1 million sale of a contemporary artist of Jasper John's Three Flags.
I did.
Tell about that.
Burton and Emily Tremaine owned the painting. A very important German collector wanted to buy it. And I stopped over one night to have a drink with them on my way home. And she said, Peter Ludwig, has offered us $500,000 for the Three Flags. I said, you can't sell it to Germany. You can't let that painting out of this country. It's the quintessential American painting. And she said, but nobody is going to pay that price for the painting. And he's really ready, and he's ready to buy it, and I think it would cause a sensation. And I said, what if I can cause a bigger sensation and get you $1 million for the painting? I'll take no commission. And let it go to the Whitney Museum where it belongs. So this was just a dream in this conversation on the way home. And she said, well, I'd do that. And then I left and I thought, oh my God, what did I do? And I quickly called Leonard Lauder. And Len, who loves the Whitney Museum and was very involved, said, we have to have that painting, you're absolutely right. And we put together 4 people to each give $250,000. And the Whitney got the painting. And the Tremaines were absolutely stunned, no more than I was.
And you were a hero.
I was a hero, and I'm very proud that I kept that picture in America.
Right.
Because it is such a great picture.
Now, another one of your artists was Chuck Close. He did a very famous portrait of you, didn't he?
He did. It's in the Centre Pompidou.
Oh, you gave it to the Pompidou?
I gave it to the Pompidou.
Is that how you became a chevalier of the French Legion
well,
of Honor?
I've given, I'm not a chevalier, I'm an officier.
An officier.
Which is higher.
That's the red
That's
rosace I
the
see
rosette.
on your lapel. The rosette
that's
on your
the
lapel.
rosette. No, I've given a great deal to France, and it was also for all my years with Dubuffet. But I was very touched, and I take it very seriously.
Now, another artist who figured very prominently in your career was Mark Rothko.
Yes.
And he died, sadly. He committed suicide, and you knew him many years, and then became the dealer for the Mark Rothko Foundation.
For the estate.
For the estate.
For the estate.
For the estate. How did that happen?
I lived across the street from Mark's, and Louise Nevelson introduced me to everybody. She was a very dear friend of his. So we went to lunch one day and hit it off so well. And I would visit him on my way home. And if there was a light burning, I'd knock on the door and I'd say, am I bothering you? Can I come in? And I come in and I saw, paintings in process, and we talked. And I think he was quite beguiled by a young person. I was in my 20s, being so interested in his work, but like Dubuffet, he was one of my heroes. And he was so sympathetic, and I learned so much from him. And one day I came home and there were police cars all over, and I said, what happened? They said the artist died, and I later found out how sadly he died. But then, as you know, I testified in the trial that the lawsuit the children brought against the Marlborough Gallery for defrauding the legacy of the children. And I think I know I was very instrumental in them getting the estate back. So I was quite naive and young, and I felt I couldn't possibly go for the estate because it would look like I just testified to get the estate, especially as my testimony became so principled. So I never met Kate, and she wasn't allowed to be in the courtroom when I testified, and I wasn't allowed to be in the courtroom when anyone else testified. And I'd never been to court before, and they really put me through the ringer, as you know. And so about 8 months went by, and her lawyer called me, and he said, aren't you interested in the Rothko estate? And I said, well, of course I am, but I don't think I can do that now because of my testimony. He said, well, Kate wants to meet you, and she'd like you to come to Baltimore on Saturday.
And the rest is history.
And I came back with the Rothko estate.
Yes, that's wonderful.
It was great.
Yeah. We read headlines in art news all the time about some prominent artist leaving some prominent dealer. Your relationships with artists have been long-term relationships. Everyone's interested in long-term relationships. What's been the secret of your success?
Well, Irwin is 55 years, and so is Lucas Samaras. Agnes Martin was 30, Nevelson 30, Chuck Close is 30 already, I think, or more. I have a commitment. There are bodies of work that an artist makes that are great, and some that are not great, and you have to support all of them. And I know what's best, and I know what's not best, and I know what the best paintings and sculptures are and ideas are, but I never give my advice to the artist.
That's the secret.
I never say, that's the direction you should go, or that's the direction. Because if they go in what is, quote, a wrong direction, it leads to a right direction. You don't know what the creative process is. And I think that's the secret. They know I love the work and I love them.
Now, you've also been a filmmaker, an Academy Award nominee. Yeah. You have been an advocate for conservation in Africa. You've done many things other than being an art dealer. How have you had time for all these wonderful pursuits?
I think you have one life. And, there's a line in a wonderful line in pop culture, Auntie Mame, and she says, life is a banquet, and most poor sons of are starving to death. And I think it is a banquet.
And you feasted at the banquet. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I have a question for you, Arne Glimcher. And my question is, what would you like to be your legacy?
I don't think that way at all.
How would you like to be remembered?
For the next thing I'm going to do.
For the next thing you're going to do. Arne Glimcher, thank you so much for coming by. This has been just wonderful.
My pleasure.
What a trip down memory lane. It's really fantastic. And thank you for coming by. Tune in next week for more conversations. I'm Jim Zirin. Take care and all the best.